All right, folks, had some technical difficulties here recording your video, so here is part 2. This is the example that we finished in part 1 of the video. Here is another. This time we're going to do x squared minus x is equal to 12. Now remember that when we solve these quadratic equations by factoring, the first step is to make sure the equation looks the way we need it to. We want this to be ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. The first thing I notice about this equation is that it is not equal to 0, it is equal to 12. So I need to fix this one. Okay? Now to fix it, what I have to do is I have to cancel out this 12. And get it to move over to this side of the equation. So what I'll do here, it's a positive 12, so what I'll do here is I'll subtract 12, and I'll have to do that on both sides of my equation. Alright, on this side 12 minus 12 is my 0, so now I have my equation equal to 0. On this side, I need to set it up so that ax squared goes first, bx goes second, and c goes third. So I'm going to put x squared first, then minus x, then minus 12. So get these three terms in the correct order. So the equation that I am solving is x squared minus x minus 12 is equal to 0. Now I want you to notice how easy it was to fix it. You had to cancel out this positive 12 and make it a 0. So you subtract 12 in order to do that. Alright, so step 1 is done. Now we are going to factor by using guess and check. Alright, so first we're going to be guessing for x squared. That's pretty easy because the only way to get it is x times x. And then notice we are going to be guessing for negative 12. Alright, to get 12 I know I can do 1 times 12. I can do 2 times 6. I can do 3 times 4. But I want a negative 12, which means that one of my two numbers in each combination is going to have to be a negative. So I could do a negative 1 times 12, or I could do 1 times negative 12. I could do a negative 2 times 6, or I could do 2 times a negative 6. I could do negative 3 times 4, or I could do 3 times a negative 4. One of the two numbers has to be negative to make that 12 a negative. Now, keep in mind here what we want. We want negative 1x in the middle. So I can look at these combinations to see which one might give me a negative 1. And out of all of these, this 3 times negative 4 combination seems the most likely to do that. So I'm going to use a positive 3 and a negative 4 as my two numbers. All right, so we've made our guess. We think this should be x plus 3 times x minus 4. Time to check it. Alright, so we're going to do x times x and get x squared. We're going to do x times negative 4 and get negative 4x. We're going to do 3 times x and get positive 3x. And we're going to do 3 times negative 4 and get negative 12. Then, when we combine like terms, negative 4x plus 3x is negative 1x. We get x squared minus x minus 12, which is exactly what we wanted, so that checks. Alright, so here's where we are. We know that this is x plus 3 times x minus 4 is equal to 0. I'm out of room down here, so I think I'm actually going to move up here to finish this off. So we made sure that this thing looked the way we wanted it to look. We had to fix it, but we got it where we wanted it to be. We factored it by using guess and check, and we now know what that's supposed to look like. So we're at step 3. We're supposed to set each factor equal to 0 and solve for x. So our first factor is x plus 3. We're going to do x plus 3 equals 0. Our second factor is x minus 4. So we're going to do x minus 4 is equal to 0. And we solve these for x. So on the first one, we would subtract 3 on both sides and get x equals a negative 3. And on the second one, we'll add 4 to both sides and get x equals a positive 4. So in this equation, x can be a negative 3 or a positive 4. And there is our solution. So the most important thing in the beginning is to make sure the equation looks the way you want it to. Then we guess and check it. And then each factor is set equal to 0 and we solve. All right, 3x squared minus 13x minus 30 is equal to 0. Let's solve this one. All right, first, let's check it to make sure that it looks the way we want it to look. I can see already that it's equal to 0, so that's a good thing. Is this side the way it should be? Well, here is ax squared plus bx plus c. Everything here appears to be good to go. So, equation is the way I want it to be. Now, time to guess and check. All right, so we're starting with 3x squared. The only way to produce 3x squared is 3x times 1x. So that's what we'll go with. Next, we are guessing for a negative 30. We can do 1 times 30. We can do 2 times 15. 3 times 10. 5 times 6. Now keep in mind you want a negative 30, which means one of the two numbers needs to be negative. So you could do negative 1 times 30 or, or 1 times negative 30. We can do negative 2 times 15 or 2 times negative 15. Negative 3 times 10 or 3 times negative 10. Negative 5 times 6 or 5 times negative 6. Now remember this time we had this 3x squared, so we can't just look at these numbers and try to find what will add up to negative 13. That won't work this time, so we're going to have to guess and then check this thing. So let's try, I think I want to try the negative 5 and the positive 6. So let's do this. Let's put the negative 5 here and the positive 6 here. And now we will check this thing. All right, 3x times 1x is 3x squared. 3x times positive 6 is a positive 18x. Negative 5 times 1x is negative 5x. And negative 5 times 6 is a negative 30. When I combine like terms, I get 3x squared. 18x minus 5x is a positive 13x minus 30. Now I want you to look at this. I didn't get what I was supposed to get. I got my 3x squared. I got my negative 30, but I wanted negative 13x and I got positive 13x. What that tells me is that I have this thing almost right. I have the right numbers and I have them in the right places, but these signs are wrong. So that negative 5 needed to be a positive 5. So that negative 5 needed to be a positive 5, and this positive 6 needs to be a negative 6. So instead of going with negative 5 and positive 6, I should have used positive 5 and negative 6. So let's look at how that would change things. 3x times x is still 3x squared. 3x times negative 6 now makes that a negative 18x. 5 times 1x makes that a positive 5x. And 5 times negative 6 is a negative 30. And then when we combine our like terms, negative 18 plus 5 makes that negative 13x. So now this checks out. So I want to remind you here that it's really important. I know you won't want to do it, but it is important that you do that check step to make sure you get everything the way it should be. So after we factor, here's what we should have. We should have 3x plus 5 times x minus 6 is equal to 0. Now it's time for step 3. We're going to set each of the factors equal to 0 and solve for x. First factor is 3x plus 5. So we're going to set 3x plus 5 equal to 0. Second factor is x minus 6. We're going to set x minus 6 equal to 0, and then we're going to solve each of these equations for x. So on the first one, you'll subtract 5 on both sides. That'll give you 3x is equal to a negative 5. And then we will divide both sides by 3 and get x equals a negative 5/3. On the second equation, a little easier. All we have to do is add 6 to both sides, and we get x is equal to a positive 6. So on this equation, my solutions are x equals a negative 5/3 and a positive 6. So make sure it looks the way you need it to. Ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Factor it using guess and check. Don't forget to check. Set each factor equal to 0 and solve for the x's. All right. All right, for this problem, 6x squared minus 4 is equal to a negative 5x. Notice right off the bat, this equation does not look the way we need it to. It is not equal to 0. It's equal to a negative 5x. So to make it equal 0 and cancel that out, I'll have to add 5x to both sides. So notice now that will be equal to 0. On the other side, make sure you put things in the right order. We want ax squared first, so we're going to put 6x squared first. Then we want plus bx, so we'll put the plus 5x second, and then our minus 4 at the end. So there is step 1 complete. We have made this equal 0, and on the left side we have ax squared plus bx plus c. All right, now it's time to do the guess and check part of this. All right, so first we are guessing for 6x squared. That could be 1x times 6x or 3x times 2x. Now this is a guess, but I'm going to try the 3x and the 2x. All right, then we are guessing for negative 4. That could be 1 times 4 or 2 times 2. Since it's negative 4, one number needs to be negative, so I could do negative 1 times 4, negative 2 times 2, or I could do 1 times negative 4. Now I've got to guess between these. I think I'm going to go with the negative 1 and the positive 4. And I think I'll arrange them this way. I think I'll put the plus 4 here with the 3 and the minus 1 here with the 2x. So I'm going to make my guess that this thing is going to be 3x plus 4 times 2x minus 1. Let's check it. 3x times 2x is 6x squared. 3x times negative 1 is negative 3x. 4 times 2x is 8x. And 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. When I combine like terms, negative 3x plus 8x is 5x. I get 6x squared plus 5x minus 4. That's exactly what I wanted. So that works. So I have made it look the way I wanted it to. I have guessed and checked and factored. So now here's where I am. I have 3x plus 4 times 2x minus 1 is equal to 0. Now it's time for that third and final step. We want to set each factor equal to 0 and solve for x. So your first factor is 3x plus 4. So you'll do 3x plus 4 equals 0. Second factor is 2x minus 1. You'll do 2x minus 1 equals 0. Let's solve both of these equations for x. So here we will subtract 4, which gives us 3x equals negative 4. Then divide both sides by 3, and we get x is equal to a negative 4/3. On the second equation, we'll add 1. That gives us 2x is equal to 1, and then divide by 2, which will give us x equal to 1/2. So for this quadratic equation, the two solutions are -4/3 or +1/2. All right, I want to do one last one with you. 4x squared minus 11x is equal to x minus 9. Now, right off the bat, you can see that this equation does not look the way we want it to look. It is not equal to 0. It's equal to x minus 9. So we're going to have to cancel both of these terms out to make this thing equal to 0. So I'm going to start by canceling out this x. To cancel out that x, I could subtract 1x from both sides. Now I want you to notice where I'm putting that on this side. I'm putting it right below the minus 11x. Those are like terms, and I need to combine them. So this is going to make this 4x squared minus 12x is equal to a -9. Now, I'm still not where I want to be because this is still not equal to 0. So now I'm going to cancel out this -9. So that means I will add 9 to both sides. Now I'm equal to 0. Set this side up the way you want it to be. You want ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. So you're going to put 4x squared minus 12x plus 9 is equal to 0. So it's all about canceling out both of these terms over here so that you can have a 0 on that side. All right, so now that we have this the way that we want it, now we need to work on doing guess and check to factor this. All right, your first guess is for 4x squared. You can, get that from 1x times 4x and from 2x times 2x. Now you've got two choices there, so take your best guess. I think I'm going to try that one. 2x times 2x. All right, next I'm going to guess for this +9. So for a +9, I could do 1 times 9, or I could do 3 times 3. I'm looking here and seeing that I want a -12x in the middle, so that means I'm going to need some negatives in these numbers over here. It would take a -1 times a -9 to make a +9, and a -3 times a -3 to make a +9. Both numbers would need to be negative. Now again here I got two choices, so I'm just going to have to guess. I'm going to try that one. I'm going to try -3 and -3. All right, so here we go. Let's check them. 2x times 2x is 4x squared. 2x times -3 is -6x. -3 times 2x is -6x. And -3 times -3 is +9. Combining like terms gives me 4x squared minus 12x plus 9. And that's what I wanted. So I have factored using guess and check. So we made it look the way we wanted it to. We factored it. And so now here's where we are. We have 2x minus 3 times 2x minus 3 is equal to 0. All right, so we're up to that final step. We need to set each factor equal to 0 and solve for x. Your first factor is 2x minus 3. So we'll do 2x minus 3 equals 0. Your second factor is also 2x minus 3, so you'll get 2x minus 3 equals 0 there as well. There's no need to solve both of these because they solve the same way. We're going to add 3 to both sides, which will give us 2x is equal to 3. Divide each side by 2, and we'll get x is equal to 3/2. So x equals 3/2 will be our solution. So, this gives you several examples ranging from very simple to a little more difficult, how to solve a quadratic equation by factoring. Here are your steps one more time. First thing is always to make sure the equation looks the way you want it to look. You want ax squared plus bx plus c on one side, has to be in that order, equal to 0 on the other. If it doesn't, then cancel things out and fix it. Then you're going to factor by using your guess and check method. Always do the check step to make sure you've got everything right. And then set each factor equal to 0 and solve for x. You will practice this today and tomorrow. If you have any questions at all, please let me know.